My people, what up though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
My name is Prentice.
Bell is taking care of the baby on daddy duties. And if you see, we got a special guest with us today. Capital M, capital A, capital J, capital O, capital R, period. Major in
My good brother, I appreciate you making sure all those letters were capitalized.
No doubt.
With that period at the end, because I mean that thing.
For sure.
My name is Major, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yo, we appreciate you joining us, man. We're gonna do what we normally do in the beginning. We have a check-in, see how everybody's doing, mental health check-in, just see where we at right now, see what's going on, because it's important and we ain't doing that enough. So P, I'll let you shine in first. Check in, P.
Yeah, man. Before I check in, another thing we are not gonna just let go to the side is the fact that we now have two brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded December 4th, 1906, Cornell University. Oh, six, we in the building, you know what I'm saying? So, I've never got to do that on our podcast. So, we out here.
That's true. Shout out to
and
y'all.
Chief, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Very well. He already know. Shout out
to y'all, man. We at my school, the football and frats fought all the time, so we ain't really, you know what I'm saying?
That was your fraternity, the teams, the sports teams.
We didn't really get it. We didn't do it like that. So shout out to y'all. Respect. P, check in though, homie. What's been going on?
Beautiful day in California, man. It's like 100 degrees a day, so it's nice to get some.
It's never beautiful when it's 100 degrees. What you talking about?
Hey, but it is in California, man. It's great out here right there. I got a mimosa on the rooftop. I'm chilling. Justice went to Florida, bud. So I took him to the airport. Talked about that. I took him to the airport on Thursday. So Major, you may not know, my son spent most of the time. Excuse me. When he was born here in California, but the courts let him go to Florida. So I used to fly every 6 weeks, pick him, bring him home, do that deal. But I've been fighting for years and years, man. But I got custody of him a year and a half ago, bro. So this summer, Thursday, I took him to the airport, man. And this is my first summer without him, because I always had him during the summer. But it's dope how it's a twist, because this is the first time, like I didn't cry taking him to the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like ever. Like I always, he knows. Like it's so systematic that he knows whenever I take him to the airport that, I'm gonna get I'll be trying to hold it down, but you're a little emotional, man. So it was dope to take him to the airport and be like, bye. Like, listen, man, I will see you later. Yeah. I'll holler at you in a couple of weeks, man. You have a great time. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want.
That's what's up. That's funny.
But I'm good, man. I'm good.
That's what's up. On my end, Bell's not. He gonna check in yet. Maybe we'll save you for last. But my end, man, I'm good, man. Things been going well. School year wrapping up. Yo, so my tenant does a podcast too. We share the same converter because we're just using it. Remember the joint, the sound.
Your
sound
tenant.
Joint? My tenant
sounds like an owner.
Yeah, something like yeah. But Pete, yo, we going through this crazy. The cycle continues to repeat. His uncle on drugs stole the damn thing, stole the microphone and the sound recorder. So I had to put rigmarole some stuff in the last minute, bro.
Wow.
I was major. I had to sound. Listen,
family is gonna family at some point.
I swear you, I said that exact thing. I said family gone fam. And he just laughed. Like, but no. Time. So we had the little sound machine. I was gonna give you a little applause and everything, but my money stole it. You know what I'm saying? So we can't really work.
I hope he makes some serious money and give you some of whatever.
It's crazy how that happened. But yeah, man. So that happened. My shorty graduated the 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? Class vice president graduated the 5th grade, so she moving and shaking. Major, if you ready, man, I know you on the move. For those of you listening and watching, we moving and shaking through the podcast, so we're gonna do what we do. But check in, man. How you doing? How you been? How you feeling? What's going on in your
Listen,
world?
man, I salute the both of you, you fathers. I'm not a father yet. I'm a godfather, but I'm just almost 2 years married.
For sure, congrats.
Almost 2 years married.
Congrats.
I just want people to know that married life is a work. Don't rush it, but don't be afraid of it, because you can get through. I love my wife. She's so special. But anyway, I'm having a pretty productive day. I got a new single, actually a gospel single that I just released that I'm having to do a lot of press for and traveling for. And so I've been on the road nonstop for that. And I'm with a new label home. So it's a lot of work, but it's what I prayed for. So we're just giving it our best. I'm making sure that I take intentional moments to catch my breath. I believe there's no greater grace than finding your pace. And that's what it is. Yeah, we're just taking the day on. I'm going to be headed to another meeting, a board meeting. But I'm excited to be a part of this call, gentlemen. Thanks for inviting me.
No, for sure. Appreciate you coming, man. Was the whole world in his hands, right?
Brother, you better go ahead and do some research.
Hey, man. I done heard it now. I done seen you getting the step on too, the bounce in the performance. He was in there. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm a showman.
No, word. That's definitely what's up. We definitely did some research. So the conversation is gonna flow naturally, man. We got a lot of questions, a lot of angles we can go. If we hit a topic that you uncomfortable with, that's a little too much pressure right now, feel free to say so, and we'll bounce away. I told the fellas in doing the research and whatnot, I seen, the story of how you got your name and how you were brought to be, actually. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, he's told that on several different platforms, but they're like, yo, we didn't hear that story. So please share with the fellas, the story about the moms and the flat tires and your name and all that.
Wow, man, you have really been doing some research. Let me get in this car real quick because I'm going to share it. Hold on.
Good. Go ahead and handle that. You know what? I it's funny how surprised he is by the reconnaissance that was put in. But it doesn't make sense to bring anybody on your show or your platform if you have no clue who they are before they get up there. You know what I mean? I think part of what we want to do, and you being one of our first guests on the show, I mean, to be honest, bro, we've had a couple, but you are definitely one of the first that we've had, is just kind of set that precedent, man, that regardless of what you do, regardless of what we know you for, we just want to get into some casual conversation and dialogue, man. So again, we appreciate you being on with us today.
You might have to double that back, P. It looks like he froze, but we'll jump back into it. But to your point though, man, like I really do think that it is an honor for someone of this stature per se to just to rock with the everyday black man on some serious let's get better type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really big deal. So I'm hoping that he can pop back in and we can go from there. But until he does, P, tell me what it was like, when you talked about it briefly, but I know because we've been friends for a while, but I know that feeling of picking up and dropping Justice off, bro. Like,
it's crazy, but he just said something. Major just said something before he got disconnected, and he was like, oh, there you go, he back on. He had said he had prayed and is getting what he prayed for. You know what I'm saying? And that hit me, a certain way, because that's honestly what it feels like, bro. Like I prayed for this shit. You know what I mean? Like I prayed every day of my life. It feels like every day of my life, which is only 13 years, because that's how long he's been born. I prayed for that moment. I prayed for the day I didn't have to cry no more at the airport, bro. Like I really did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there ain't no other way to say it. There ain't no other filler. I hated taking him to the airport 4 to 5 days before. I'm on a countdown. So my head's somewhere. I gotta stay cool for him because I don't want him picking up that I'm sad that he going back to Florida. So getting what you pray for, man. It's interesting because I feel like it hits twofold, man. Like I'm relieved. I'm happy that I didn't cry at the airport, but at the same time, I'm a full-time ass daddy to a 13-year-old who is cutting up right now.
Right, who's going through changes, and you have to be patient, but also stern, because both of those matter right now. It's important. It's imperative for his development. You're built for it.
Imagine, let me get a kicker, bro. The kicker really was when he started cutting up this year for school, realizing that I don't know my son in the capacity I thought I did, because he's only with me for a limited time. You know what I'm saying? So just breaking down this idea that, like, yo, he's 13 and can't nobody tell me I don't know my son in and out.
Yeah.
This last year has been full of, wait, what? Wait, huh? Yeah. Like, what? You know what I mean? So part of getting what you pray for is not crying at the airport, but it's also the gray hairs that come with what you pray for.
Hey,
well, yeah, and I think one of the things that happens in life is that the very thing we pray for, we don't know what the grass really looks like on the side of that which we're hoping for, because what we're used to seeing is like, oh, once I get that, it's going to be good. But you don't realize the reason why God doesn't give everything to us all at once is because there's some development, some character development that has to be worked in us in order to ready us for the very land and territory that we've been hoping for. Had we got it sooner, we really would have been caught up and thrown off. But bro, you're built for. And if you continue to lock into knowing that every day is a new day and there is always going to be new things learned, it gives yourself grace and also the circumstance grace for you to show up and make room for new answers also to come. Did y'all hear that?
No, for sure. You cut out a little bit, but we got it right. But I think a good.
That's disrespectful. I can't stand 18. I got to talk to the network.
You got to holler at them after the podcast, man.
No, for sure. But yo, P, I commend you, bro. We all commend you. You're doing the right thing, man. You're doing it, and it's gonna all work out. But I think in the respect of getting what you pray for, man, you got what you pray for. Hold on to it and make the best of it, like we always do. So,
bro, that's always at the forefront of my mind. No matter where I'm at with it. Like, I asked for this, so the fact that I asked for this, I'm ready for it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can get challenging for any parent, but I asked for every bit of it.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, every bit of it. So I'm there, man. But it was a dope.
Something that I like what you said, like you're ready for it all. I think sometimes we confuse ready with knowing all the stuff that we need in order to be able to take on whatever challenges are to come. And ready is actually just a posture of availability to fully learn and to fully show up at the same time. Because like, even as I was about to get married, is it cutting out? We're good?
No, you're good.
You good?
We got you. Even as I was about to get married, I started getting like almost 2 years ago in the pandemic, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, am I ready? And all the other, my mentor and the other folks that have been married are just like, listen, you'll never fully be ready in the sense that you have everything you absolutely need. It's you knowing that you can't do this in your own strength, but you're willing to give everything that you do have to whatever the challenge calls for. Whatever the challenge is, it's you giving the very best of what you have and being available for whatever the divine provides as your help. Like it's why the concept of readiness. I think that's why a lot of people don't jump into marriage, because they're like, I'm not ready for it. I got to get my money right and get this right. And it's like, yo, you won't know what you're ready for until you're in it.
Right. Let's take that statement and apply that to your career.
Oh, brother.
Like, real. Yeah.
What up, though? Listen, this is the entertainment industry is a fickle industry. It's a vortex. Fame is a vortex that will only celebrate you when you are relevant. But the moment your relevance is not in line with what is now, they will spit you out without apology. And you have to be strong-minded in order to really sustain in this industry. I know when I released my song, Why I Love You, that song, also known as This Is Why I Love You, but that song has taken me all over the country, all over the world, the song that has changed my life. But while that song is winning, I'm thinking, I got to follow it up, because I'm just taking on pressure. Like, I got to outdo my last big win, not realizing that I'm not even present to enjoy the current win that I'm in.
Did we not have these conversations, P?
We had this, Major. We have these talks all the time, bro. Yeah. I wrote a poem years ago called "The System," went viral, did it on our Arsenio Hall show, did it on Versatile Flow, got on tour with Jill Scott doing the joint. All this stuff happened doing this poem. And after that success happened, I could not write another poem without having that one in mind as a comparison, not understanding that your art stands in its own individual space. You know what I mean? And if you put that pressure on you to try to create because of what everybody else gave you, you're not growing. You know what I mean? You're not growing. So I want to ask you, knowing the impact of the song you have, knowing the origin and the history and what inspires your work, how do you navigate? And I say this specifically, how do you navigate as a Black man through all this, knowing that you can be a commodity, knowing, like you said, you could be spit out, you know what I'm saying, the moment you're not buzzing, the moment you're not booming, like how do you juggle that, the personal life with the entertainment life?
It's really, for me, my saving grace is God. Like I have to give shout out to my faith center. It is what has kept me, bro. It is proven to sustain, to prosper me, to grace me, to cover me, to carry me. And it's really my faith center, my relationship, my God relationship. And I'm not talking about the religiosity of doing all the things that institutional religion has kind of pushed on us, that misses really the heart of being spiritually grounded and spiritually centered. I'm speaking about that personal relationship with my maker, where I'm just like transparent. I don't know what I'm going to do today, but I need you. I know that I'm clearly still breathing because the assignment's not up. And so help me, Holy Spirit, to identify what it is that I need to see for the day. The moment I started focusing on one day at a time was the moment I started feeling the wins as real wins. Because oftentimes what anxiety does, it'll have you locking into things that have not yet happened yet. And so you stress out about things that are like hypothetical. And depression is the reverse. It'll have you stuck on things that have already happened, leaving your present moment full of answers, but nobody's taking the answers. Full of reason and purpose and meaning, and nobody's grabbing hold to it. So for me, that is what my faith center has taught me. Because I'm telling you, man, I know what it feels like when a network, I won't call it out, a TV network is crazy about you one minute and begging you to do this and do that. And then you don't have a hit song on the radio, a current hit song on the radio, and they act like you're a stranger the next time you see them. You got to be mentally, you got to be spiritually centered and grounded to withstand that.
That's a very, so you, in hearing you talk about this, one of the things we wanted to transition to in this conversation was that particular conversation about church versus, or God versus therapy. And you mentioned how in, some traditional churches and in some forms, no disrespect to anybody, it's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the isms of it are frowned upon, because getting help systemically from, specifically to the African American, because you don't hear people really having trouble talking to wise counsel when we go to the continent. Speaking to wise counsel is actually what people do, what they're encouraged to do. But in the States, systemically, African Americans have been limited to, one, the access and also the privilege to both hope and heal at the same time. We've had to only choose one or the other. And generally it's hope. You can hope out loud. And really it's not full hope, because it's just the presentation of what hope looks like for a lot of us, because we've practiced routine to present that we're well, but we're really broken. So for me, I believe in this day and age that, and thank goodness therapy has become trend now, I push people to embrace the right, that humanity gives us to both hope and heal at the same time. Understanding that white folks don't have the problem hoping and healing at the same time. That's why you can have a Donald Trump as president. He can talk about let's make America great again and do some crazy stuff at the same time. And you're like, what is happening here? Because he can fully show up. That race has not been limited to having to pick either or. They can be crazy out loud, but I'm encouraging people now to lean into the therapy. Bible been talking about that. Wise counsel, professionals that actually have the wisdom and the intellect to help you process through the things that you've gone through. Like, it's not limited to just going to Sunday morning service. Like, this should be a constant thing of seeking counsel. Therapy is counsel. And as much as I believe God is all for it. Jesus and therapy, period.
No doubt. So is there, in the traditional sense of therapy, outside of your conversations in your personal relationship with God, would you have you go to a traditional therapist, sit down and
absolutely
work it all out?
Absolutely. Maybe my phone was cutting out, but when I say wise counsel, I'm not just talking about smart people or people that have lived. The counsel was about people that were in the profession. Like, it wasn't, wise counsel is not just limited to older people or people that have been through some things. I'm talking about professional counsel. I don't think God would have inspired an entire industry to help people for us not to take advantage of the help. I don't think, I think that the whole idea of therapy is a spiritual byproduct. I think that every single religious practice would speak to the tenets that we experience actually in therapy. If people actually give it a shot, you will find your faith in therapy. It's really there.
It's a trip how some people, and I'm saying this now that we're doing this, obviously we're not therapists. We say that every show, we're not therapists at all, but this is one of our ways as three homies to seek therapy. And I think it's really interesting how people are often willing to pray but not seek therapy. You know what I mean? Like, how we're willing to go to God to solve our problems, to fulfill the desires, but we're not willing to go to anybody else who's set up professionally to help us accomplish those things.
And I think representation matters when people, because we're educated on this. A lot of people aren't educated on the experience of therapy. So A lot of people are afraid. People judge and make decisions and make choices and validate based on the limitation of their greatest experience. So if you grew up in the hood and your greatest experience has been the only person I can talk to is probably my mama, you're not thinking that therapy is an option because you've never seen that as an experience. So it's on us who've been educated and have had the experiences to help those that haven't understand this is what this is about. This is what it really is, to help to redefine and course correct the narrative of it all, because a lot of it does get bad branding. That we were scared into getting help.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Bible that they're pushing puritanical doctrine. They only gave certain pages out of the Bible to slaves. So the whole thing about studying and show yourself approved, that wasn't anything that they read as slaves. They didn't read, seek wise counsel, or, for that you obey the laws of the land, or that God is your present help, that slavery wasn't right. They didn't read that part.
Yeah. Touche. So you spoke on just, in speaking to the people from back home, from around the way. One of the questions my partner Bell, who's coming on in a second, mentioned was survivor's remorse. Being that you've made it to a point now where you're successful, is that something you may have experienced or struggled with, just the people back home latching on, reaching.
I don't fully struggle with it because I'm one of 10 siblings, so it's inevitable. Like I'm used to somebody needing something, and if I can help them, I can help them. I generally help most people that come to me, and I'll figure out a way to help them. But my thing is, I would rather you be naturally convicted to help than to be forced to help. So if it hasn't naturally hit you yet, I'm off of it, because I don't want your for you to have some ill energy while you're doing for me. But my thing is, if you have grown to a space and prospered, excelled to a space of success that you've learned tools that can help get somebody else there, it should absolutely be on you, on your heart, to give back and teach one. Each one reach one, like absolutely.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, G. I'm curious with this. You say each one teach one is absolutely your responsibility. How do you manage when you have to detach, when they can't come with you? You know what I mean? Like what has your experience been with, and I'm not saying, and when we're asking this, it's not about you as an artist. It's about you as a brother. It's about you as a man and what you happen to do, right?
Yeah.
That may affect relationships that happen. I want to be clear that, the space that I'm asking, because I feel like I have moments where I have to identify with the path that I've chosen in my life and the direction it's going. Everybody can't go. And sometimes
everybody can't go.
Everybody can't go.
Got to emphasize with that. And me, I don't really struggle with that, but some people do. So I'm wondering, do you have that experience?
I have had the experience because I'm an empath. I'm like the quintessential empath, and I just feel this duty and great responsibility to help any and everybody. However, one of the realities that has hit me, and if it cuts out, let me know, and because this is an area where it starts to cut out. But one of the things that I've come to realize is I can either try to drag along dead weight and stay still, or I either cut loose and excel, make sure that my character is right, so that if I do have to pass them back again, that I have something to bring back. I don't want to be stuck with dead weight in spaces that are no longer feeding me, because that's a disservice to the both of us. And so, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
My bad. I mean, go off, Major. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. Go, bro.
So what does that look like? And I'm asking for a person, because I remember the stage where those were thoughts I was having in my head, but putting them into practice it's not always as easy, right? It's easy to think about these things, but when we get in these situations, we don't know always how to do that. So how do you stop dragging the dead weight?
Have you had to have those difficult conversations? Like, look here, partner, we might don't make it.
Absolutely. Family. The thing is, you have to be clear on where it is and why it is you are going. You have to be clear on purpose. Your purpose is your why. And when you identify your why, anything that's hindering you from fulfilling your why is something that needs to be cut off. But you have to literally have time by yourself to process through this, to assess what is building you and what is taking away from you. I have a song called Better With You In It. It's a song that a lot of people sing, and it says, my life is better with you in it. But I go on to say, and when I do it live, I say, if it doesn't make you, it only breaks you. And if you are going to be in a situation where you're going to keep allowing perpetual breaking, that's going to be on you. You are no good to someone if you are perpetually broken and never fed. So I have to cut off the things. And so what does it look like? It looks like me having a tough conversation. And I think you should always try first with the conversation and just say, this is where I'm at. I don't think that this relationship is serving my growth and development to where I'm headed. I love you and I am okay, and I will always love you. But right now I have to love you from a distance. And it's difficult, but the moment you say it, when you have language for it, it will allow you to flow with it differently. When you don't take time separately to process it, you don't generally have the language for it. So that's where all of the stresses come, because you're just moving just based off of feelings, but not off of full assessment and defining language for what you're feeling. People, when you don't communicate, expect a bigger fire, bro. You can't just cut somebody off and not communicate.
You can't. A lot of times I think we make the mistake of a lot of us aren't able to articulate our emotions, you know what I mean? And so we allow our emotions to be, like expressed through our physical actions. And not all of us are able. Everybody who listen to that, I think you need to rewind it, because I know when this comes out, I'm gonna rewind what he just said about that script. You know what I mean? Like that's a script right there, but that script was freeing. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit sounded like freedom right there. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we miss that language.
But P, have you had that situation where even with the successes that we've had, you and I particularly, I've been labeled Hollywood, labeled big time, because you have to have those conversations. So Major, I can only imagine with the sex you had, you have to let somebody know.
Brother, on whatever level, you have had 1 or 16, somebody's going to say that. Somebody's going to say it at some point on whatever level. It just happens. But this is what is true. Integrity. As long as you come from a place of pure integrity, the rest will be handled in due time. Only move with pure integrity. Don't do it because they done pissed you off. Do it because after the anger, you have assessed, oh, this is why I'm triggered, and this is not serving me. So now I have language for it. I will communicate with them. This is what it has to look like. You can call me Hollywood all you want. All I can say is I am me, and I want to be the best version of me. And at this moment, I'm not the best version of me. And I can't let anything get in the way of becoming the best version of me. Because the moment I become the best version of me, I can then be better for you and the other person and all of us. And you literally just have to do it.
People don't understand success comes with enlightenment. That's the one thing I've learned about it. You know what I'm saying?
There's As you see the light. You see the light right there?
Right there in the corner, bang. You know what I mean? It's right there. But it does, man. And I think sometimes when you're not on the successful side of the fence, so to speak, maybe your own perspective of what's going on in your life, you forget that other people's accomplishment and the direction is going to take them down paths where they realize different things, and then you have the option of how you want to stand in their life. You know what I mean? Like, but a lot of people, they miss that.
Yeah. A lot of people do. A lot of people do, bro. But at the end of the day, listen, I'm nowhere near where I ultimately want to be. But I also know that where I am is where a lot of people wish they could be.
Right.
So at like, it's never over until it's over. So you just educate people that don't get it. Have grace for the ignorant cousins or siblings or parents that don't know any better, and realize, wait a minute, I've had these experiences, not just for my benefit, but for me to realize that this is something that teaches me the very things that we may have missed or they may have missed. So let me take this moment, even if I have to cut them off, educate them in the process. Say, I want you to know that while it looks like I'm all good, it's not all easy. I was signed to a billionaire before when I first got out here. A billionaire. A billionaire owned one of the patents to iTunes. A billionaire. One of his partners also owned the patent to the video chip. He is paid every time a device uses a video.
Damn.
So this is billions. I saw that even billionaires get stressed out, get depressed, get anxious, get frustrated, have marital issues, have financial, like it's so much stuff. It's just on another level. But if you don't deal with the stuff on the ground, you gonna look like a fool in the sky and you won't last long.
Hey, the depression travels in a Gucci bag too, man. You know, I always say that, man. You can't get away from it, man.
Under a Gucci hat, bro.
Let's talk about it for real. And I think people don't understand it. And I appreciate you even saying that candidly, because people need to understand that a lot of the humans that we're admiring are fucking humans.
Right? Very much so.
Like there's some things going on under that Gucci hat right now that we're not going to be privy to.
I read something the other day, Pete, and it said, if you don't take time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness.
Hey, man.
Do you know what I'm saying? Tell me that ain't...
Say that one more time. Say that one more time. You ain't just going to say that once and leave it like that.
If you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness.
Yep.
Like that's... And I'm just like, wow.
Let's just take a pause on that.
And that's real.
Let's take a pause for real on that one, because that deserves some attention. Woo! If you don't take time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness.
Yes.
And then you got to break down what you're going to do during that time you forced to deal with your illness, because let's not act like everybody's prepared. That illness can take you to a lower level.
But that's why we're here. That's what this platform is, P. Like, because all of us don't know. We don't, like, one thing we're not, I wear these bands all the time. If you can see them, and it says do right on one side, which is just the nature of life. Just do the right thing and overcome adversity. That's something that we're not taught. We're not taught how to overcome adversity. When it hits,
we're taught to survive, bro.
You know, right, exactly. So when that adversity hits, a lot of us don't know how to respond to that in a manner which is beneficial for us. It's oftentimes it's detrimental in that regard.
I want people to understand that therapy is not just a damage control service. It is not a damage control remedy. It is not only a damage control option. It is very much a quality control option as well. Like, understand that you don't have to wait until everything has burned down before you get help. Who does that? When you notice a spark, you tend to it. You don't just wait till it takes down the rest of the house before you decide to tend to it. And my thing is, a lot of people think that therapy is reserved for the crazies, and it's like, no, it's for all of us. And honestly, we all have crazy in us. It's just a matter of time when that crazy starts to show itself, to show itself. It takes one trigger to bring it all up. And that's why I'm encouraging people to lean into this therapy, lean into support groups. If you feel uncomfortable talking to one person at a time, get into some support groups until you are comfortable sitting alone with other people. Because a lot of people, that's another thing. We try to push everybody to singular therapy, but a lot of people, what they experienced every time they were alone was abuse. And that's a trauma that I can't be alone with people. So say, okay, let me get in a group therapy. There's lots of men's group therapy, women's group therapy. It's a lot of group therapies that go on, and you can look them up. And generally those are the ones that actually don't cost.
Let's talk about it.
For sure.
So if you're saying if you ain't got the money for it, The group therapy, that's the one where it's anonymous, it's confidential, and it's free.
You know what? You know what's crazy? I'm thinking right here. So my problem is Chief has been pushing me for months to go to individual therapy, and I have yet to do it. And it's crazy that you say that right now, because I'm realizing I feel way more comfortable talking either with the three of us about what I'm going through, and I don't think I've been as inclined to sign up because the idea of a group kind of therapy sounds better to me, because what do? I'm on stage all the damn time writing these poems talking about my life, and I feel more comfortable being on stage in front of thousands of strangers than I do one person that I'm telling my business to, and I'm just now realizing that through him saying it. So
you see how loved you are? You see how loved you are by the maker, by your maker? That would be where the conversation led me to share, to show you another alternative, to still get the help that you need.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense, though. That makes sense.
You see how loved you are, bro?
Oh, absolutely. 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 We all are. Absolutely.
For sure. So listen, I want to we was going down this rabbit hole of heavy real quick. We're lightening it up a little bit, but I wanted the fellas to hear that story, Major, about the your moms and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
And I got
you talking about lighting it up.
Well, I mean, it's heavy, but I mean, you're right. But I got a follow up behind that because I'm very curious. But go ahead and share that story, because it is actually kind of heavy.
I hope your follow up will lift it back up.
Nope. It might go. I don't know. Okay. It might go even darker. But,
nope.
Hey, brother.
What's up, fellas? My bad, man. I was my son is in this phase.
We were waiting for you.
I know, man. I heard everything you said. I love where the conversation's going. I've been listening in this whole time.
Okay, bet.
He's on this phase where I got to read him 3 books before we go to sleep. So I got it in just a second ago. But Major, I really appreciate it, man. You joining, you taking the time. Obviously, you're a busy man. We really respect you. And thank you. I want to make sure I said that. Nothing else.
Salute to great fathers, man. You never have to apologize for being a father. We need more like you, and we need to spotlight more like you. So my brother Chief was asking the derivative of my name. So my mom gets pregnant with me her senior year of college, just before she was about to start her senior year of college. She already had my brother out of wedlock. My dad at the time was not trying to claim a child because he knew he was going to get in a whole lot of trouble with his family. My mom was embarrassed that she had another kid. She was having another kid out of wedlock. So she considered abortion. On her way to the abortion clinic, the tire goes flat. So she comes back home. And of course, like always, when you think you defeat pressures and stresses and temptation, it comes back harder. And so the pressure just built up. And so she's like, I gotta go. So on her way back to the abortion clinic, the tire completely busted, and a different tire in the same spot, nearly the same spot, a different tire completely busted. And so she said, God, I hear you. I'm gonna keep this child. I pray that if I name him Major, which was my great-grandfather's name, I pray that he make a major impact on the world. So I love my mama for deciding to move forward with having me and having purpose and all that stuff. But I guess this will be the lift up, because while we salute my mom for that, she needs to be reprimanded, because she decides to tell me this story once I'm about to graduate college. I'm the first of my siblings to go to college and graduate, but she waits until I'm 18. I'm 21, 22 to tell me the reason behind my name. So I went through major, minor, major league. What's your major pain? All the jokes.
I don't know if I told you. But my son's name is Major. My oldest son's name is Major. So the baby.
Tell the man why you named him early.
They call the baby. They call the baby minor. They call him Major and Minor.
It's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. I done heard everything. Major, you're being minor today, and I'm like, okay, all right. You're funny. You're so funny.
That's hilarious. So you touched on it briefly, but we've had several conversations about, daddies and so on and so forth. The interviews I've watched, I was like, he's never really mentioned his pop.
Okay.
It's the mom story. So I mean, I don't know much
now.
about it.
We're good now. So I grew up with my stepdad, who was my hero, my guy. He stepped into my life in kindergarten and just was present and always there. An incredible, humble man, hardworking businessman, entrepreneur. He passed away in 2015. Right before he passed, he told my mom, Major's going to, he said, continue to support Major because he's going to bless every hand that helped to get him to where he is. And he also said that we're going to be all right. And so that's what he left with us. But right before my stepdad passed, years before that, when I was just about to go to college, I reconciled with my real dad by way of a conversation with that T.D. Jakes preached about on TVN. That's a Christian television station. And he was talking about forgiveness. And I was 16 and I didn't want to forgive my dad for some stuff that he had done. And he'd just been inconsistent in my space and kind of expecting me to just naturally connect with them after being absent in my life for so long. And so I harbored hurt and pain in my heart. And T.D. Jakes looks at the screen and he says, "It's time to forgive. Forgive." And I was like,
he talking to me.
I'm like, he talking to me. Yeah, I did that. I said, he talking to me. And sure enough, I called my dad and we reconciled. We still had some turbulence post college. But my dad is my guy now. Like, and I learned just what grace really is. If I want it for myself, I have to be willing to give it. And that's why they call it amazing. It allows you to begin again, no matter what you've done. If you come with a repentant heart, grace makes space for the change and for the correction. And so I love my guy. He's my dude now. And I understand, why he's made some of the choices he's made and how he was brought up. The older I get, but yeah. I talk about my mama more because, right. It's my mama. It's my mama.
Your mama.
It's my mama.
For sure. Bell, you just tapped in, man. I know you had a couple of questions. You want to shoot some of them off? I know you was listening the whole time, but I mean, if there was something in particular.
No, I don't even, like these conversations always do, right? They go on many different roads, right? One thing I had that you said, Major, that I want to comment on, I talk about it a lot. So just a little background. I'm in sales and I have a sales team and run a pretty large operation across some different states. Nonetheless, I talk to my team a lot about purpose, and what their purpose is. And one thing that I always say is the how doesn't matter if you know your why, right? And that to me, like entrepreneurship, right? Like, so that's you as an artist, a professional artist at this point, one of the questions that I wanted to talk to you about is what was your mindset, right? Like, did you know you were going to be famous? Was this a goal? Did it just happen? And regardless of that answer, how was it? Like, talk to me about like your mindset getting through this, because I had sometimes we forget, right? And you talk about grace. I had told the story to one of my junior guys earlier last week actually, and I was just talking to him about my story. And sometimes we get so fixated on the goal, right, that we forget about some of the challenges that we had, and some of the, like a lot of the learning moments and the learning points that we had throughout that process. And one, we could even call it struggle, but sometimes we get so locked in that we don't even think about those things when we arrive, right, to wherever it is we want to be. So I was just wanting to tap in with you on, how you got to this point. What did it take you to persevere, so on and so forth? Did you know it was going to happen? If you could just talk to me about that.
I got you. I told my mom at 3 years old I wanted to be an international superstar and a pastor. I saw it. I put those words together at 3 years old, believe it or not. Right here is fine, sir. I put those words together, and my mom immediately supported the idea of me becoming a singing and acting and all that stuff. She put me in music schools and performing arts schools. So I had the cultivation early on. You know, it was very intentional and fruitful. I just kind of been built for it, and so I'm excited to share that the reality is, while I saw it, just like you said, the how, it doesn't always matter. I didn't see it happening the way that it's happening.
Yeah.
I definitely saw myself being very successful, but I see myself being even more successful. But I did see these current stages that I'm in, but getting here, the way that I got here is different from what I thought. Like, it's wild. Like, I'm just like, I wasn't supposed to be an independent artist. Like, you know, I went to Berklee College of Music. So, you know, and before that, I did an intensive at Juilliard. And before that, intensive with the Houston Grand Opera, and then HSPVA. You know, that's the same institution of Robert Glasper and Brian Michael Cox and Beyonce. And so I just knew I was going to be that kid that was going to be. And everybody said it too. So, you know, when you get the crowd saying it, it's like, duh, that's how it's going to happen. But when I moved to LA and ended up having to end up being an independent artist, no matter how many times I had meetings with all the major labels, I was like, God, I don't know what this is, but this wasn't the script. This wasn't the script. But I was equipped for it, because at Berklee, I studied music business marketing. So all the things that I need to know that I'm missing as an independent, I'm able to know how to plug it in and whatnot. I became R&B by default because I was going to be a gospel artist, but gospel wasn't like embracing me back. And I said, I'm no longer going to chase the embrace of the uninterested. And I remember doing R&B live in Hollywood. Chris Spencer was the host. I sing, and Chris says, "Where are you from?" And I told him where I was from, and he says, "You're about to take over this city. You about to take over Hollywood." I was like, "What? That's what you see?" I'm like, I'm grateful that he said it, because I was broke too that day. I sure hope God is telling you to say this to me. And so, sure enough, after, you know, having jobs and stuff like that, because I'm also a left and a right brain, and I'm sure Prentice probably struggles with this as an alpha man. We are creative, but we're also we're both brains. So it's hard for us just to be creative sometimes, because we know, but honestly, it wasn't until I went all in with my music that everything just started to happen.
When you say all in, what's that look like? When you say all in, what's that look like?
I stopped working the regular 9 to 5. I just jumped. I took a leap all in. And it was another artist that told me, he's like, Major, you're so talented. Because I had done this and that and done a bunch of different things, but it was nothing consistent. And all of a sudden, the moment I took the full leap, bro, everything just started happening. And it wasn't like all of a sudden I just became famous. It was just opportunities that were all related to my gift, my why. And I started leaning into the why more. When my mama told me my name, I realized hope was the work that I had to be about. So I'm a hope dealer. And so I said, whatever I do, that's what I'm a deal. I'm a deal hope. Fast forward to now. I'm sitting outside of the Recording Academy, and Prentice, I need you to focus on getting your spoken word project together. I don't know if you know Jay Ivy.
We on it.
Oh, yeah, we on it. We definitely on it.
Both of y'all, listen, don't play games with me. Jay Ivy worked too hard for us to get that category for spoken word specific to poetry. So please, before September 30th, it needs to be released. So I don't know what you got to do in the meantime, but get your best work, put it together or whatever. Yeah, because the spoken word community, I have a project called Major Hope Motivations, where I speak into these meditative motivations, and it's a spoken word project for me. But I want to see more of the poets, in this thing.
You're gonna see some amazing material coming in that time during that time after September. I wanted to ask you a question based off of something you said about the journey not being what you envisioned.
Yeah.
You getting there a different path than you had it in your head. What I want to know for you is how has that impacted how you view life? Because I feel like when we have major aspirations and we start to see ourselves achieve them, and we're aware enough to realize that we're achieving them not in the way that we planned, I feel like it does something different to our psyche, and it forces you to accept that everything doesn't happen the way you want it to, and it forces you that way extra because it's a blessing that you're receiving.
Yeah.
So
your gratitude. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah. How did it
impact you? So there's a shift that took place when I started realizing, man, you praying and hoping and wishing for this and that. Did you ever take a moment to be present and see everything that is happening? Chris, I'm telling you, bro, I'm seeing stuff unfold before me, and I'm like, this is wild. I'm living the very thing that I prayed for. I'm living it. What happens is, and this goes to your how, Chris, I'm gonna give an example. I just recently signed with a full label situation. This is my first full label situation. I was signed to a independent label distributor.
Shouts to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Sure.
Monarch Music Group. I just signed with them, and they're independent. I was wanting a major label. And so I've been praying for a major. I'm tired of the independent. I want to go major because majors have the big budget. They have the infrastructure and and they have a team that they can do all this stuff. Because I'm tired of I just want to be the artist. And as I was praying, I'm having these meetings with major labels, and for some reason, something's just not feeling right. But I'm in these meetings and they seem interested, but something's not connecting. I go to God and I say, okay, God, while I do pray, I would love to be signed by a major label. I pray at the end of the day for the objective and not specifically the goal. My brother, Emmanuel Acho, had this concept in his book, Illogical. He says we have to start setting objectives and not goals, because when you try to pursue goals, you miss what the objective really is. And that's to accomplish something, not just to have something. And he says, when you do see, the thing with goals is they have to look a certain way for you to feel like you've reached them. But when you set objectives, you find yourself landing in the space of winning more often, because the thing is really happening. It's just in a different packaging. So that's what I pray to God. God, I pray that you lead me somewhere that meets all of my needs, and help me to be open. I said this at the beginning, to be open to receive whatever it is that you have, that I don't miss what you are doing for me simply because it comes in a different packaging. And Monarch Music Group came. They spoke my language. They dubbed me Americana soul artist, where it encompasses the gospel, the R&B, the soul, and the folk, all of who I am.
That's dope,
bro.
That's real dope. Listen, man, this has been outrageous. I'm just listening to. There's so many gems dropped in this joint.
Yeah,
There's
we've
just
been
been
going
so
for a
many
long
gems.
time.
I don't want to. Yeah, we got things to do. I don't. If you got time, we got time. But
I have about 5-10 more minutes.
Yeah, we got
perfect. Yo, this is. Yeah. Go ahead, P. I'm. My brain is over here spinning.
no, go ahead, Bill.
Well,
I know Bill had to say all that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And Major, man, you make so many great points, brother. I can talk to you all day long.
Right.
Like
there's a lot of chill.
Because
you're gonna have to have another conversation with us.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
I mean, what you're talking about, man, is it's deep. You know, like sometimes and everything that we've spoken about so far, we've touched on in multiple different episodes in some capacity, right? And I think for me, like we talk about this at length, is goals versus objectives, right? I love how you said it like that, right?
Yeah, that was great.
I used to say it a different way, but I think the way you say it is much more clear, right? But because what can happen, right? What can happen is we could hit a goal and not fulfill the objective, or what I used to say, the purpose, right? And still feel empty. And you can get to that point where you get to that goal and you would think that this was your purpose, this was your why. And then you get there and you're like, I just don't have it. So, because now my whole thing is, it's like, all right, once you get there, then what? Right? Like I always say, your purpose has to be bigger than you, right? So it can't be tied to a goal. Like, so it can't be a goal. It has to be much larger than that. You know?
I've realized, bro, that purpose is never connected to a destination. It is always a journey.
Yes.
And it's what you give.
Always.
It's what you give to and receive along the way in the journey that purpose is fulfilled. Period.
100%.
In order to find your why, find the thing that tweaks your passion, that moves your passion, that you're passionate about. And if it helps others and yourself, you have found your why. If it only helps one or the other, it is not your purpose, because purpose is never going to leave you at the deficit.
Yep.
Purpose is always going to reward you as you do the work. It is always going to feed you and fuel you as you give.
P, it sounds like the poetry for me, P. Like that's what it would do. Like that's like our poetry.
That's all he's doing is talking. When I'm listening to him talk, he's talking about poems.
Right.
Chief,
that's what I hear in my head.
What I was hoping you got from that is you need to jump off the porch. That's what
I heard that too. I heard that too. And we've been talking about it forever. And I think I need to just go ahead and jump, yo. I really do.
Don't think, just do it. Because this is the thing. We say often, my shout out to Jamel Davenport, my one of my life coaches, but my brother, he said, when you try to move the mic.
Oh my God!
We do. I say this same story when I'm speaking to people. It is crazy being on the other end of it, though.
So check it, bro. So you are literally, we're like pedigree. All four of us, we're aliens, we're anomalies, and that's just what it is. Chief, you have to understand this. It hit for me when I ended up writing the song that got me my first Grammy nomination. And I thought Why I Love You for sure, hands down, because it was the song. That was supposed to get me that, and it's still.
I officiate weddings. It's
brother. Thank you. Tell all of them thank you.
And let me tell you this.
The moment I'm trying to compete with my last big win. I'm like, I need to have a song that's bigger than my last win, or people's not going to receive me. They're going to forget about me. They're not going to care. Little did I know, actually, all that stuff didn't matter, because God was going to use Why I Love You until he still used it. It's 6 years old and just went platinum, so That's just what it is. But what I'm getting to is, I write this song called Honest, and the words are, it says, I've been trying to be perfection when broken is what makes us human. I just want to be honest. It's basically talking about, this is my authentic self. Sometimes I don't get it right. Sometimes I don't have all the answers. I ain't got all the answers, Sway. This is what it is. But take me as I am. Take me as I grow, as I'm building, as I'm striving to be better. And that's the love that I want. And I promise you, you will get the blessings that you seek. But I want to tell you this, bro. It hit me that the hope I give, Chief, hear me. The hope you give, Prentice, hear me. The hope you give, Chris, hear me. The hope you give is the hope you must live. And God is going to always challenge you in the very space that you have the greatest wisdom in. So you can't keep helping everybody climb out of their stuff and not be able to climb out of yours with the very tools that you've given them to climb out of theirs. Bro, leap, jump.
That's called imposter syndrome.
Word.
Yes.
Word. So listen, that's where we at. Yo, that's a great way to close that. So listen, Major, we always close the episode with the final thought. P, go first.
My final thought would be.
Wait. Let's give him his kudos before we do that. Like,
you said what?
Just make the acknowledgement. Yeah, we really like. I want to say thank you before we even start.
You already said that for everybody, Chief. I don't need to hear it again.
All right, P, go ahead. Final thought.
Final thought, man. This was refreshing for me. Just because I know where I'm headed, I know where I'm going, and this was a reminder of that there's still humanity on the other side. That I'm not off in my thought process about how success and self-care can coexist. And I would really like to encourage everybody listen today. This is really my final thought. Listen to this again, because Major said he dropped so many jewels in this, and it's not possible for you to keep them all. So different than any other time. I would say listen to this one more time, man, and sift through this and take notes.
Go ahead.
Here's what I'll say. This is why the work we do is so important, because, though these conversations weekly are therapy for us, sometimes because it happens so frequent, sometimes because we've known each other for 20 plus years, the words that we say over and over again sometimes don't resonate to the tune that we would like it to. Right? Because it, for lack of a better term, it could fall on deaf ears, not because the message isn't important, but just because it's repetitive. But those same words can be said by someone else, and then boom, a light bulb goes off. So my final thought is it's imperative to keep good people and leaders around you, because you never know what is going to be said and when it's going to stick. Sometimes you have to have different people around you saying the same message in a different way so you can then hear it. Right. So that's my final thought. Keep great people around you that will empower and encourage you.
Major.
I absolutely agree and echo both sentiments of my brothers. I think cliches are essential, not just for us to hear something over and over again, but at some point we're going to be awakened to actually getting it. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this to everybody on here: hope ain't ever canceled. Hope is your anchor in everything and always. Never trade it in. And if you lost it, get it back, because hope will always deliver. Hope is not the denial of reality. It's the commitment to believe greater is on the other side of it. It's not pretending that your struggle, your hardship isn't real. It's understanding that if I simply hold on, I will get to the other side and it will be worth it. If y'all can oblige me just for a second, and by collectively doing this, showing the listeners and the viewers exactly what this thing is about. Let's catch our breath. On the count of 3, a deep breath in and let it out. 1, 2, 3. Brothers, I know you needed that. You're welcome.
So I'm gonna close it up, man. I wrote down a couple points as we were talking, man, and just some key things I thought like just punched me in the face as we were talking. I don't know, they came from all of us, but one of them was therapy is not a damage control remedy. Depression travels in a Gucci bag, which I thought was big. Purpose.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in the poem.
Yeah, purpose is never connected to a destination. The hope you give is the hope you live. And I think the most important for me that stood out was we are healing out loud. And I don't think we should be ashamed of that. Let's heal out loud and continue doing this, and don't be afraid to have these conversations with your brothers. I mean, we went all over the place with this conversation, but there were so many gems to help us all be better men. And that's what's important. Black men need to have these conversations. Major, we appreciate you, bro.
This is great. This is great.
We appreciate you, bro. We would love to tap in again when you in a stable setting, so we can have it, because we cut out a couple times.
But so I can give y'all like the backdrop and everything with the lighting and stuff.
Yeah. Nah, we got some things, but yo, I really see like some connections going on. We gonna poly off of this, but let me close it real quick, and then we have a quick conversation afterwards. But yo, per usual, y'all, we on all social media outlets at All Black Men Need Therapy. allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com. Now that's Major Team at Gmail. Just, if you want to reach out for my man, he sings at weddings. It costs a lot of money, but it's worth it. What else I got? That's it. Per usual, y'all. Do us all a favor. Hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.